thank you everybody for coming and joining us in LFS Awareness Day, our second LFS Awareness Day. So thank you. So we started this last year in honor of Jen Mallory. She was president, she was our founder. Prior to last year, there'd never been an LFS Awareness Day campaign before. And we thought, what better way to honor, Jen's dedication and all the years she kept this going than to put it on her birthday. So she continues to guide us in every decision that we make. We miss her dearly, but the energy of the board members and everybody who's committing time to this is really all due to her. So there's Jackie. So last year when we started this out, we had 43 applicants for grants. We started off just trying to fundraise 10 $530 grants, and through amazing donations through the community, we were able to fund 43 $530 grants, some nearly $23,000. And this year, with another year of COVID behind everybody and more medical expenses, and we decided that $530 in honor of P53 wasn't enough, so we wanted to make $1,000 grants. And we started off saying that we would fund 12 of those ourselves through Living LFS. And we ended up qualifying, I believe it was 31 grants this year for $1,000 each, thanks to our amazing fundraisers and just the donations from the community. It was amazing. So thank you for that. We haven't awarded them yet. We'll be sending those out in the next day or so. But we're just so proud that we're able to fundraise these dollars, and every dollar that's donated to Living LFS goes right back into the community. We're 100% volunteer organization. And I'm just so happy that we can help these families. And if any of you saw my birthday fundraiser, you can see some of the stories that these folks are willing to share about what they're going through and just how much these dollars mean. And that's always the most fun part of this job, is to be able to phone somebody up who's having a hard time and just saying, here's $1,000. It's a very rewarding experience, and thank you for making that possible. Another way that you fundraised was through t-shirts. So we sold 168 t-shirts to date through Snarky Cancer, who's amazing. So I got mine on here. So thank you guys for wearing them. I love it. Woohoo! So shout out to Snarky. I know Trish and her family are going through so much, but they're still cranking out t-shirts, donating a tremendous amount to not just Living LFS, but all sorts of nonprofits. And, they're just an amazing family, and we thank them so much for everything that they do. And all of our
Trish is on.
Oh, she is on.
Trish, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How
Happy
are you?
LFS Awareness Day.
Look, I brought mouths.
Oh, nice.
So, yes, happy LFS Awareness Day. I had to, be sure to be on for this because wouldn't miss it. I wanted to do it from the beach, but it was way pouring down rain. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Trish. So, yeah, with all the fundraising that we've done, we're happy to be in the middle of planning, our family camp again. As I was just mentioning before this, we have 150 spots, and as of right now, I believe we're almost at 100% capacity. That's going to be taking place August 11th through 14th. So we're talking to medical community members now and trying to arrange, a nice list of different activities and breakout sessions, just like we did last year. With the aim of providing that psychosocial support to the patients and families that they have LFS, because that's really where we play. We are here to provide support on the psychosocial side of things for patients and families of LFS. So with that, I will turn it over to Andy really quick.
Oh gosh, there's so much. There's so much to talk about. First of all, Greg has already mentioned about Jen. He started off talking about our founder, Jennifer Mallory. And I don't know if everybody that's on this call had a chance to watch the Mallory family video. It's posted on Jen's profile page on livinglfs.org. I just watched it yesterday again after I haven't watched it, I think, since 2020. And hearing her voice and seeing her face was like reconnecting with an old friend. And that is something that I learned that's really important, that I learned from Jen, is that no matter, it doesn't matter if your hair isn't perfect, it doesn't matter if you're not wearing your makeup perfect, it doesn't matter. Take pictures, take photos, take video, take audio recordings, because those things matter so much to the people who love you and who love all of us. And so if you haven't had a chance to see that Mallory family video, I would definitely encourage you to go watch it, because it's absolutely beautiful. And it really, really reminded me of why we're all here and why Jen Mallory is such a huge, huge part of all of our lives and this organization. So I'll put that link in the chat momentarily. And then the other thing that I wanted to point out is that Jen fought really hard, and she fought for all of us. She fought for herself. She fought for her family. It isn't about whether you live or die or how long you live. It's about how you live. And she fought to live and to serve her loves, her family, and us mutants. So that's my little tribute to Jen Mallory. If we could have folks just mute your microphones between now and the time that we open it up to the chat, that would be awesome. Thank you very much. And let's see, what else? Also wanted to mention the George Panciarca TP53 Trust. They are our cousins in the UK. They had some very exciting news that they just posted on Facebook earlier today. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, you can check that out on our page. And a little bit later, we are going to hear from Amanda Rossenhill. She is an author who wrote a children's book about an LFS family. The book is called The Hope of Elephants. That is going to be coming out in September, but this month, during LFS Awareness Month, Amanda is donating $1 of every pre-order of her book to Living LFS to fund hardship grants and the family camp. So I will post that link into the chat as well. And Trish, since you joined us, I hope that you will please say a few words as well.
Of course. Okay, this is always hard for me, because Mallory was my BFF. So, and I had planned to, and I still will, type something up, because I know that there are so many new members of our support community that did not and have not had the distinct pleasure, blessing, whatever you want to talk of actually meeting Mallory virtually, because I don't know of anybody who had more capacity for love and support for this community. No matter what she was going through, no matter what treatment she was on, no matter if her scans were lousy or not, she was always there to reach out to the new members, always there to answer a private message. And support was where her heart was at and where my heart was at. And I am forever thankful for not only her friendship, but that we took the leap to create this organization, that we had a vision, and sometimes it was messy and ugly, as far as like how we had growing pains, because it's really hard to grow an organization when literally every one of the founding members either was cancering themselves or had a child cancering, literally every single one. And so it was a rough start on sometimes to be able to do that, but we always had the vision of who we were and what we wanted to do. And as we grow, as we are able to expand that psychosocial support to include some financial support, because a lot of the psychosocial stressors comes from not being able to afford treatment or scans, or those things are also, the financial part is also lends so much to our stressors. So as we get to do this is everything that we had a vision for. And I am just so proud of us for continuing to keep the heart, the soul, the snark, the humor, You know, levity has always been one of our core values. And I'm just so proud. I'm so proud. Thank you all for being there. Thank you all for, I mean, especially the board. I know that sometimes I get passionately, passionately bossy about what we should be doing. You know, when I saw Jen for the last time, you know, it was my promise to her that that I would always keep her vision and our vision when we left to start this, you know, in the forefront. And so that's what we do. I also want to thank you guys all for so much support of our business, and for Snarky and all the t-shirts that you buy, and it all makes such a difference. I think that there was 166 t-shirts sold, but there were also several other that are part of the Living LFS collections that I will tally up, but we have a nice chunk, probably close to another grant for the fall already designated from t-shirt sales just these last few weeks. And it really, really does. Jen loved t-shirts. Oh my gosh. She had so many fun ones and so many fun ideas. And, you know, she's really at the forefront of not only what we do with Living LFS, but what we do at Snarky too. So happy birthday to her, and happy, you know, LFS Awareness Day. I'm so proud of our organization, and I am so proud of the community for being literally the most resilient bunch, right? Resilience is our superpower on top of growing tumor. So happy LFS Awareness Day. Thanks for letting me ramble when I've only had one full cup of coffee, which for me is only a third of what I need to function in life.
I just real quick, I would like to point out that Buddha is on the call. Shout out to Buddha. We love you so much.
So
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Love you guys too. Thank you. Aloha.
We were just, Mills and I were just talking about lychee martinis. So I don't know if I can find one, but if I can, I'm gonna have one in her honor.
I also see that a number of the folks that have actually applied for grants are on the call. Thank you all for joining us today for this. We have not actually started awarding grants yet. You might not have been on when Greg mentioned that right at the very beginning, but that is, as soon as we're off the official festivities for today, we are going to start calling and handing out money. So stay by your phones.
And what did we end up with? 31?
$31,000 donated from our
$31,000.
incredible donors, allowing us to provide $1,000 grants to people in need in the LFS community. So for those of you who applied, thank you very much for that. And for those of you who donated, you have made this possible. Thank you.
Makes such a difference. It really, really does. Yep.
and I think we'll open it up now. If anybody just wants to say hi or, you know, share anything, feel free. It's nice to see a bunch of familiar faces out here. Is that lawn on?
Just gonna say that I see a lot of people that I'd love to hug right now. And why I sat down without Kleenex, I have no idea with this group. It's just, you know, I always have to run and get it. But I'm just so excited to see your faces now. Can't wait for camp.
Absolutely.
Then I can hug you in person. You know, it's just, I'm very proud of this group.
Susan, you've been here since the beginning.
Too.
Since the beginning.
And I just love y'all.
And we love you.
We love you so much, Susan. Thank you.
Next time, bring Kleenex if you're new. And I love Snarky. You know I love Snarky Cancer t-shirts. I think I have them all.
I think you do.
Thank you, Lynn. But
Oh,
love you.
Lisa.
I love you guys, and I can't wait to see it. I hope you're all coming to camp because I need a physical hug from all of you.
Yeah.
We'll be there. We'll be there. Real quick, I do want to continue opening it up to everybody else. One of our board members couldn't make it today, and you may all know Inge van Dormal. She is our secretary of Living LFS, but she is also an incredible artist, and she is in the process of drawing this mandala. You may remember that last year she drew a mandala for Living LFS. It was available for a $530 donation to Living LFS. Then the finished mandala went to a wonderful donor, and this is the mandala that she is working on in progress right now. The whole thing is going to be black and gold, and I'm going to post the link to this in chat. And this again is available this year for a $530 donation to Living LFS. That'll go towards the hardship grants that we do in October or to family camp, and you will become the owner of this mandala. So I just wanted to mention that because Inga had to work today, so she was not able to join on the call, but I wanted to make sure that she is represented because she is one of us. She is a mutant, just like many of us are, and she is also absolutely dedicated and committed to our organization. So, you know, this is an incredible offering that she makes available to Living LFS. And so we want to thank Inga as well for that. And you can go to the link that I just posted in the chat if you are interested in more information about that mandala. Who else wants to share?
Everybody's so quiet.
I'll kind of share a little bit. Our two young mutants that kind of harassed camp last year, the year before, Carly and Michaela, I had them for a week, and it was really working pretty hard. Old grandma had to sleep for a couple of days, but her sister is the one that I've been posting pictures on that is in Ireland in the color guard. And we just got a notification that they won the competition this afternoon.
Oh.
So you will know her as JC because she was with us at the last camp. So those girls are going to get on all of you. And they've already warned me. Don't watch me, Grandma, because you'll get mad.
Now, I also mentioned the fact that there's the children's book that's coming out in September called The Hope of Elephants. It's by Amanda Rossenhill. It's about a family that has LFS. Amanda is going to try and join us, but she's probably not going to be able to make it for about another 40 minutes. But I wanted to let her know because she said that she is going to donate $1 of every pre-order that is made during the month of March. She is going to donate to Living LFS. So I've posted the links in the chat of where you can get it at Book Depository, Amazon, or Barnes & Noble. You can pre-order it now, and $1 of each pre-order will go to Living LFS. So hopefully we will see Amanda coming on in a little bit to share more details about her book. Who else wants to share with us?
How about we do a little, for those who are comfortable, a little icebreaker, like where you're from, where you're at right now, right? I'm Trish. Trey was here. I don't know where we're not early risers, and so we're still caffeinating. And oh, here's Trey. So Trey.
Hey, Trey.
Hey, Trey. Happy LFS Awareness Day.
Yes, happy LFS.
Are you aware?
Are you aware?
Slightly.
Yes, just a little bit. But we live in Kennewick, Washington right now. We're in Seaside, Oregon, having a little bit of a vacation from everything and cancering. Trey has some appointments on Monday here or in Portland. So yeah, and my favorite part of Living LFS is that people that you get to meet. that it's a safe place too, that you can share your fears where nobody else, I mean, I even scare people in like regular cancer support groups. So nobody understands like another mutant. So I'd love to hear where you guys are at right now and what Living LFS means to you guys. Anyone?
I'm not on that, but I just went to Amazon, and is this the book we're talking about?
That is the book, Bill. Yes, The
That-
Hope of Elephants.
Because there was some that was the hope for the elephants, and then there was some others. I just wanted to make sure that was the right one.
That's the book. Yep. As I understand it, is a children's book. I have not had a chance to read it yet. Is Lisa still on? I think Lisa had a chance to skim it.
Hi. Yeah, I read it and it's really good. It's written almost like poetry style. It's really unique, but it's a good story. It's not entire. It's based around family events, but she changed the age and stuff a bit. But it's a really good depiction of you know, what it's like to live with that, and the child's perspective of a parent going through, you know, cancer diagnosis and LFS. So it's a good book to check out for sure.
Excellent. Thank you for that. All right. Who else wants to tell us where they're from and what Living LFS means to them?
I'll do it because I'm still right here. I'm Lisa and I'm from Canada and I'm on the Living LFS board. And what Living LFS means to me is just having a community of people who get it and know what it's like to live this crazy life, or sometimes not crazy, but sometimes really crazy. But there's always someone there to talk to you and support you. So it's nice to have that and build that community with you guys.
That's awesome. Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
I can go next.
Please do.
I'm Brittany. I'm in Miami, Florida. And yeah, just like what Lisa said, I'm just thankful to have a community of people that are there to answer questions and that I can type into the group like colonoscopy or, you know, whatever, a keyword and get information on that. So it's just good to know that other people understand. You know, I've been to a lot of providers that don't even know what LFS is. So, you know, there's nothing like people that actually get it. And actually last week I went to a GI doctor, speaking of colonoscopies, and he really understood Li-Fraumeni and TP53. So it was just really nice for him to fully understand the protocol and everything like that. It was a breath of fresh air to me for him to get that. So yeah, if anyone needs a doctor in Miami, I got one.
And that is one of the cool things about Living LFS as well, is that you can also post and say, hey, I'm in Miami. Who do you know that actually knows LFS? And you'll chances are you'll find somebody in the group who can give you some information. So
Right, definitely. Or
Brittany, thank you.
Who should I avoid?
Right.
Too. So thanks. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Brittany.
I guess I can go.
Please
I'm
do.
normally not in the hospital, or I guess normally we are. But my name is Haley Westbrook. I'm actually in Oklahoma. I think a few of y'all may have seen my story on the LFS page. Definitely need those tissues. My 18-month-old and I both have LFS. And it's kind of been a roller coaster for us. The other day I actually got put in here as I have the tumor in my that caused a pericardial effusion. So they're draining that fluid from my heart right now. Definitely just ready to be back home. But it was a lot of times like this where I just felt really down, where I could go to the LFS community and just cry and people would actually understand where I was coming from. And it didn't feel so abnormal. And to feel like you could cry. You didn't feel like you had to just hold it in. You could actually go to the community and be like, guys, I'm scared. And it would be okay. So it's been a rough few days, but I definitely didn't want to miss the Zoom today.
Haley,
Haley-
Trey just had that too. The end of, he's got stage 4 leiomyosarcoma, and he all of a sudden was having shortness of breath and was in the hospital like just 6 weeks ago with having to have his heart drained. And it's intense. It's an intense thing. And but you're definitely not alone. We're 100% hear from you, and I think that you guys are close to the same age, and I think it's a bunch of bullshit that you're dealing with all this bullshit at this age. But I just want to say that he's feeling better after, and you will feel so much better after that fluid is gone. But Trey's pretty quiet on the group, but he's really good if you reach out to him personally, and I'll let him know too. So but yeah.
I'm definitely missing my baby right now.
Yeah.
3 or 4 days now. So
Well, Haley, I want to give you a little bit of good news too, because one of the grants is coming your way. I know things are hard right now, but we're here to help you. So
it definitely means a lot this week. I didn't really expect this week to kind of dive bomb the way it did. And I appreciate you guys so much.
Yeah, we always wish we could do more, but it's just these little things that sometimes are the light at the end of the tunnel that can keep us with one step in front of the other,
Yeah, completely agree.
Yep.
I try to be there for others as much as what y'all have been there for me. Y'all have really set a whole new standard of what it's like to actually have that community and that family just kind of surround you when you really need them. So
that's why we volunteer the way we do. I mean, I'll tell you that Jen and Ann Raymer, they were on the phone with me when my wife was diagnosed with LFS and had breast cancer, and they were spending time with me, and this is how we pay it forward, right? And you're doing the same thing. So I appreciate it. I actually have to hop off, but I'll go real quick. So I'm Greg Harper. I'm on my way to relocating to San Diego. I've been a part of Living LFS since my wife was diagnosed with cancer in 2015, I think now. So I've never met a more amazing community of people in my life. So I appreciate all of you. And like Trish said, it's all about the people that you meet during this. So I got to hop off for now, but thank you all very much. And look forward to seeing you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
Bye, everybody.
And Haley, thank you so much for sharing. And I know how hard this is for you, and it's important for all of us to see your real situation and what you're really going through. And just know that we are going to continue to be here for you. And thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, guys.
I see that Amanda Rossenhill has joined us. She is the author of The Hope of Elephants, I'm sorry. Amanda, can you tell us a little bit about the book?
Yeah, I would love to. Like she said, my name is Amanda Rossenhill. I'm the author of an upcoming book called The Hope of Elephants. It's publishing in September. It's the first traditionally published children's novel about LFS and LFS family. It's about a girl named Cass whose dad has had cancer, many bouts of cancer throughout her whole life. And when she's 12, the doctors figure out that he has Li-Fraumeni Syndrome, and that, of course, that means she has a 50% chance of also inheriting the mutation. And her parents let her know, kind of, but she has to decide what she wants to know about her future and if she wants to take the test, and also is dealing with her father's cancer, which is worse this time, and trying to get him to a World Series one last time. And so it really deals with a lot of looking at your future when you don't know exactly what it's going to pretend and what's going to happen, and dealing with a lot of the fears and anxieties around the illness.
And I've posted in the chat the links to pre-order the book on bookdepository.com, amazon.com, and also Barnes & Noble. And I believe you posted in the Friends and Family group that if people pre-order this month, then $1 of each pre-order will be donated to Living LFS.
Yes. If possible, I might just extend that all the way up until when it comes out in September. But my plan was every copy that's pre-ordered this month, I'll donate $1 to Living LFS. That's all I get from each sale is $1. But in order for me to count it, I need you to email me and let me know you've bought it. And the email is thehopeofelephants@gmail.com, because I don't get numbers. So the only way I can count it is if you email me, or I have to wait until September when it finally comes out and Amazon finally gives me like the first week sales. But yeah, I admire Living LFS so much. Jennifer Mallory was a huge cheerleader early on for the book a couple years ago, right before she passed. And I would like to give back.
Thank you very much for being here, Amanda. And thank you
Thanks
for
for
writing the story. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Who else wants to share who they are and where they're from and what Living LFS means to them?
Yeah,
Well, you know,
really-
I just, real quick, I just realized that since Greg dropped off, the recording of the call may have stopped. So I'm going to go ahead and start recording again. And as a reminder, if you don't want to be on the public recording, you can just turn off your camera or turn off your camera and microphone so that you won't be on. But we would definitely want to make this available so that other people can
Still
celebrate
recording
with us.
Andy?
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's got, at least my computer says it's blinking recording.
Excellent. Okay, perfect. Okay, who else would like to share?
I'll share. Well, go ahead.
I did not plan to jump in. I planned to just lurk, but I think I will. I'm Jenny. I'm in San Diego. I am Andy's mom. So I'm a very proud mutant mom. This group is amazing. I see what it does for Andy. I see what it does for all you wonderful people. I see what you wonderful people put into it, what you go through and still put into it. What Andy experiences and then puts back into your organization. I wish so much that I could help. I don't know how else to put into it. I'm involved in kind of a support group of my own with AA, and I know that kind of support where you have somebody who really gets it around you, the importance of that. And I know what you all do for each other when you're going through it yourselves. I'm just in awe. I'm just in awe of all of you. And it breaks my heart what you're going through, but it fills my heart what you do for each other. Like I said, I didn't plan to say anything, so this probably just rambling. I love you all. You all just amaze me. You make me so proud. And that's all. I don't want to embarrass Andy any further. You guys are just awesome. So shutting up now. Unfortunately, Willie did not chime in. Love you,
Mom.
Andy.
I love you, Mom. And she has been one of the biggest cheerleaders. And every time we post anything from Living LFS or from my page, or in a lot of cases from Snarky Cancer's page, Mom is right there sharing it on Facebook. So thank you. And thank you for being here. And thank you for helping to spread the word, which is a big part of what all of us can do. That's part of raising awareness for Li-Fraumeni Syndrome, is to not just share amongst ourselves and everybody that already knows what we're going through, but also to get word out to everybody else that doesn't know. And Mom has been great at that. So no, you're not embarrassing me at all. I'm glad you're here. And I wish that everybody's parents could be here for this. Who else would like to share who they are and where they're from? Well, shoot, I guess I should. I'm Andy. I'm the vice president of Living LFS. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2015, and then shortly thereafter was diagnosed with Li-Fraumeni Syndrome. And it was Jen and Trish who welcomed me into the group, and I immediately started making videos and all sorts of things about my LFX experience, and they asked me to join the board, and I was more than happy to do that, to help out in any way I could. And Jen became a very, very close friend, and she's had a lot of impact on how I view the world of Li-Fraumeni Syndrome and what each of us is going through, and how much it is really an individual experience for each of us. And it's given me a lot of understanding and the ability to drop judgment. Each of us is going through our very own, very personal experience with Li-Fraumeni Syndrome, and how I choose to handle it is going to be different than how you choose to handle it. And all of those things are okay. And that is something that I learned from Jennifer Mallory and from Living LFS. And so I couldn't be happier to be a part of this organization and to be helping to make family camp happen. That's August 11th. We're coming up on it. It's super exciting that we're going to have, a whole camp again where people can come and bond with other folks that have Li-Fraumeni Syndrome. So many of us never have had the opportunity to meet anybody else that has LFS, and family camp gives folks not only the opportunity to do that and to make lifelong friendships, but also then to learn about how to cope with having LFS, which is a big part of what Living LFS does. And then also the hardship grants, which I'm super, super excited about, that we get to be able to, and we're just getting started with that. This is only our second year of doing the hardship grants, which means there's going to be more, and they're going to be bigger, and that's going to be awesome. So I'm super, super happy to be a part of this organization, and thank you all for being a part of it as well. Okay, so now that I'm done with that, who else would like to share?
Hi, I'll chime in quickly. Sorry, my kids are in the background, and hopefully they're not going to start screaming again. Of course, they heard me say that. I am Jackie. I'm a genetic counselor in Boston at Dana-Farber, and I have been working. No. Oh, I'm so sorry. I've been working with LFS families for many years now, and you all continue to amaze me. And oh my goodness, I don't know. I think I've gotten much more from being a member of your community and part of the board of Living LFS than I could have ever imagined. And meeting you all at family camp, I'm so excited to go this year. And just, you all continue to amaze me, similar to Andy's mom. I just have so much respect and love for you all. And thank you for letting me be a part of your awesome community. And that's Andrew.
We've got some amazing pictures of Jackie's kids actually wearing their elephant t-shirts, which I'm not sure if those have made it to social media today or not yet, but they will be posted soon. And I hope that all of you will post your photos of yourselves in your beautiful elephant t-shirts for LFS Awareness Day to help us continue to spread the word. Who else would like to share who they are, where they're from, and what Living LFS means to them?
I'd like to share. I'm Nancy Lehman, and I live in Marion, Iowa. I had my first cancer in 2002, and I was to start chemo the day my son got married. So I put that off for a week. 15 years later, I get my second breast cancer. So they decided they needed to go and do the genetic testing on me. So it came back that I had LFS, and I had 3 kids, but one of them was adopted. So they went and did my 2 children, natural children. They both have LFS. And my daughter has 3 girls, and her oldest has LFS. And my son has 4 girls, and their 2 youngest have LFS. And the minute Angie, my daughter-in-law, the mother of the 2 youngest ones, walked in the door at camp, she said, I don't have to explain how I'm doing to anybody. And I went in there and I said, I don't have to explain how I feel to anybody. And it was just absolutely unbelievable. So now my oncologist, when I go see her after camp, she wants to know what is new that she needs to do. My genetic counselor, who is a very good friend and came in the top 3 for the genetic counselor award, she always says, bring me back stuff so I can go and learn, because there is one other person in Cedar Rapids area now that has it. And I was the oldest one at camp, and you never would have known it. Just don't watch me walk. Because I broke my femur this last year. But it is the most wonderful, gratifying experience for those of you that have never been to camp to come to. And you sit at a table with someone you don't know, and they're your best friends after that. So I encourage everybody to try to go. And hi, Susan.
Hi,
Nancy. Nancy, I wouldn't normally ask this of anybody, but may I ask your age?
Yes, I thought I was 72, but I'm not. I'm 73. But I have to tell you, I convinced my brother that he was 50 when he was 48. So. But no, I'm 73, and I feel really lucky. I've had 2 breast cancers, and I had lung cancer in 2 spots, and to be able to go on like I do, I'm very blessed. And my husband had to leave for a soccer game.
And I want to know your secret for looking so damn good. Please.
I'd like to know that secret too.
Would you please bottle it and send it to San Diego?
That's probably it. We get rain and you get sun.
Oh, okay. Good trade-off. You're right.
No, I don't do anything special. And next time you see me, I hope to have new hair. It's supposed to be coming in anytime now.
Nancy, you're awesome, and you are an inspiration to all of us ladies that have LFS to see that you are living and thriving at 72, 73, whatever you want to call it,
Oh,
and
no.
notice also, I hope you all notice Nancy's amazing elephant collection that she's got going on back there. So, and I will post in the chat as well for folks who aren't aware why elephants are such a big deal in the LFS community and why we all have them on our t-shirts. I'm going to send you a link to our blog post on that topic that was posted by Ilanka D. She is one of our members of Living LFS, who explains the whole hope of elephants for people with Li-Fraumeni Syndrome. Who else would like to share who they are and where they're from and what Living LFS means to them?
I would like to share one more thing. We went to an LFS conference down at St. Jude's with Dr. Schiffman, and I showed him my pictures of my elephants, and he said, send that to me. And so I sent it to him, and he sent it home to his wife and said, I want my room like this.
That's awesome. All right, who else wants to share?
I'll get mine out of the way. I'm Susan Frary, and mine's a little bit rough. I lost my mother when I was 12, and I lost my niece, my nephew, and my brother, and I'm on cancer number 7. And number 6 was pretty bad, stomach cancer. That's one of the most awful ones. But I just keep hanging in there. Everybody's like, oh, you're so strong, you're so tough. It's like, you don't know, you just do it. It's like you don't have any other choice. So Trisha's got a snarky t-shirt she sent me that's called Cancer Bingo. And it's got all these funny things on there, like, oh, you look so good. Oh, it's got all these funny things on it. But seriously, I won the lottery actually, because, my brother lost both his children and died, and my son does not have it. So I actually won the lottery. But I follow, but mostly the Toronto protocol religiously. I try never to miss a scan. I try never to miss my blood work. And that's when you get bit in the ass, is when you miss your scans. And so I've got some coming up here at the end of the month. But yeah, Li-Fraumeni has not been really good to me. I actually kind of started before we had our group with Jennifer Mallory when they had MD Junction, if anybody remembers that old website. But so, you just keep plugging, and this group was a godsend to me. Jennifer Mallory means more to me than probably anybody that there ever was. And it's so fitting to honor her today, this month. And but I live in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I'm about to move to Wisconsin, back to Wisconsin. And so good healthcare both places. But you have to start again with the new oncologist, which I always say I have to train them. I always have to train the oncologist because I'm demanding. I tell them what I want and they do what I want. If they don't do what I want, then they go away. And that's what I want new people to know, is that I've heard they go away crying. I hear they go away, they don't like the oncologist, or maybe the oncologist doesn't know Li-Fraumeni. You know what? You can fire them. And that's what my first oncologist told me. He said, if you're an educated patient, or if you don't like what they're telling you, you can fire them. And that's what I always tell people in the group. It's like, you have a choice. It's like, my oncologists pretty much do what I say. It's like, if I want a scan, I'm going to get a scan. If I want to do a biopsy, if I want to do certain things, I got an oncologist that I probably have 4 or 5 oncologists, but they work with me. And so that's one thing I want you all to know out there, is that if you don't have somebody who's working with you and he's doing what you want and what you need, find someone who will. Because I've just heard horror stories about people who have, their doctors have made them cry. They cry all the way home. Don't put up with that. Go somewhere else. Find a different doctor. But no, but I'm on lucky number 7. Trish actually made me a shirt, knowing Trish, and it said something like, it was like a superhero shirt that said I had survived 7 cancers. But Trish is amazing. If you don't know Trish at Snarky Cancer, she's absolutely phenomenal. So, and the whole board is absolutely amazing. When we couldn't do this without him. So Andy, everybody at the board deserves a huge pat on the back.
We love you, Susan, so much.
Well, I love you guys. So, well, that's it for me.
Your tenacity and your sense of humor through all of this, and just your supportiveness of the entire community, is just that you inspire what the rest of us, what it is that we are trying to do at Living LFS.
I don't like you all. Well, so I take it a little too far. So get ready to be hugged if I know you are not at camp. All right, I'm just gonna I've got some socks that say I'm going to effing hug you. So get ready at camp because it's going to happen.
Andy, can I go to camp now?
Yeah.
We'll see if there's room for you, Mom.
Thank you.
I
want that hug.
Who else would like to share who they are, where they're from, and what Living LFS means to them?
Okay, well,
Go
you
ahead.
guys go. No, you guys go. I'm all right. You go first.
Okay. I'm Lori,
I'm Len.
and we both have LFS. I mean, he does because I do. And kind of what happens to me happens to him. Actually, I kind of feel bad for Len. I mean, I have all of you, and everybody pays attention to me. And then Len's kind of there. And so a lot of times now I say to people, oh, don't worry about me, take care of him. So we live in Seattle. And if it wasn't for Trish and Trey, I probably wouldn't be part of this group because I'm an incredible introvert and I was a stalker on MD, whatever that was that Susan talked about. But I didn't really, I mean, I connected with Trish there. And then she and Trey came to Seattle and she said, we're going to meet. And I don't think she's aware of how anxiety ridden I was just to meet them. Not because of them, just because of who I am. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life, and joining this group. And I don't post a lot. That's just not me. But the group is incredibly important to me. Ironically, I got pathology on Thursday that I have my 6th cancer, leiomyosarcoma. It's been removed, but of course I have to wait for tumor board, blah, 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 to decide the course of action. I had my first in 2004. Well, I had 2 right in a row. I had a hysterectomy in June for one and a thyroidectomy in August for the second one. And then I had a 2-year break, and then we had breast cancer. Then I had a 13-year break, and I got a sarcoma in 2019, and now this guy. And so I just thought it was really interesting that it all kind of came about this week and for today. And but I'm just so grateful for this positive. I know it sounds weird, but this group is such a positive force in my life. It's a source of hope. And when I see people like Haley, you know, she's doing what we do when we're in the thick of it, you know, and Susan, and then I see the moms, you know, I see Roberta and I see Jenny, and you know, this is just a priceless, precious group. And so I feel very, very blessed. I'm really excited about family camp. I was unable to go to the last one. And so we're on board for this one, we hope. And it'll be great to meet everybody in person. And I just thank you for letting me be part of all of your lives.
Laura, we are so lucky to have you as a part of our lives.
Yeah, I agree. Susan, I have to agree with you in terms of talking to your oncologists. We've been really fortunate with Lori's cancers because they've been all early finds. And even though some of them never showed up on the scans, she just felt them, right? She just knew something was wrong and she went with her gut. And we're very fortunate to have docs who just say, normally we would ignore this, but you're a special kind of mutant and
special kind of unicorn.
Yes, in which case it just changes everything once you get some doc to believe that you are special, and that in most cases it isn't, but in our case it's most likely, right? And so early detection has just been what saved us. So all I can encourage is if you feel something, if something doesn't seem right, assume the worst and attack it. So
and Susan, I agree with you. I've broken up with I broke up with the dentist, and it was the best thing I ever did because he wanted to argue with me every freaking 6 months about dental x-rays. And I just said to him, okay, that's it. I'm breaking up with you because I can't stand going to the dentist, and I'm not going to argue with you about x-rays every 6 months. If you don't get what I'm going through, there's somebody else that will. So broke up with him. Well, that was the best thing that ever happened to me, because since then I broke up with a surgeon because he didn't like my BMI. And I'm like, well, too bad. I'm out of here. There's other surgeons. So I really think if there's a doctor or a nurse, a surgeon, I don't care if they're a neurosurgeon, if they're not nice to you, they don't understand, break up with them. There's somebody out there that will be on your team, and you need a good team on your side.
Yeah, you're special. You can't have a normal doctor.
Absolutely true. Len and Lori, thank you very, very much. We are,
Thank
like I said,
you.
we are really, really lucky to have you guys as a part of our community. And I real quick, I just want to share, I'm going to open it up to everybody else momentarily, but I mentioned Inga, she's our secretary and the artist who has created the Living LFS mandala. She posted today before she had to go to work, and she said, when I was first diagnosed, I was in disbelief. I was overwhelmed by the change the LFS diagnosis brought to my life. Like, hey, isn't cancer enough of a crapshoot? Do I really need this more added to that? It took me quite some time to adjust to the new normal, but here we are 6 years later. And this, my friends, might sound strange, but I am suspecting also familiar. I am so glad for the good that LFS has brought into my life. And I think all of us that are on this call have some little part of good that we all acknowledge has come into our lives because of LFS. And for me, a lot of it is this group, these people that are here today. So thank you all for that. Treva, I think you were about to share next. Do you want to share with us?
Sure. I joined late, so I didn't get to see everybody. But I'm still here. I'm out and around. I am, I guess, a two-time survivor, diagnosed at 31 and 37 with breast cancer, did the whole shebang, and doing sort of the Toronto protocol, whatever my insurance allows. And I'm 48 now, so I'm getting up there. I also lost my mom when I was 5, and the crazy thing is, I did my genetic panel when I was 31. Of course, they didn't have the LFS gene on there. And then I did it again when I was 37, and they didn't test me for that then. But I caught my doctors documenting. I'm also a registered nurse, by the way, and my title is I'm a manager of clinical documentation. So I always look at all the documentation to see what they're writing, but I caught them writing that I had a genetic cancer. And I said, you can't say that unless you prove it, because I did not want some other insurance company, to grab a hold of that later on. And he goes, what do you mean you haven't proved it? Well, yeah, my mom had cancer. So did my mom's mom. And then I also, all my dad's sisters have had breast cancer. So they were just assuming. And I was like, I don't know if you can assume that. But sure enough, they did the genetic testing, and here I am. But, as a nurse and going through cancer twice, I worked cardiology, critical care. I mean, yeah, I didn't even know about this until I got it. So isn't that kind of strange, So talk about firing the doctors. I think I'm firing the cardiologist. I'm doing all these palpitations, and they're like, it's probably from the adriamycin you had years ago. And I was like, I don't know. So they gave me a beta blocker, and I'm like, I've tried this in the past. I don't function well. I don't know how people function on a beta blocker. I can't even drive. But knowing that magnesium kind of works its wonders, on certain people, against the advice of my doctor, I'm taking magnesium, and it's working wonderful. So I totally understand the getting rid of those doctors. So I got lucky when I got diagnosed with my LFS. I'm in Portland area, Vancouver, Washington, and I go to Compass Oncology, and I got one of the really good LFS doctors. His name is Robert Lufkin. He's in our practice. So I just totally lucked out and he's a board member of the, I believe, the National LFS Association. So I just totally lucked out. So, and I'm here with you guys. So I love to do advocacy work. I didn't do it this year. I've had to do a little step back and do a lot of self-care with COVID and being a nurse. I do work from home. I'm very lucky that way, but every change that comes down the pike, I don't know. I have to deal with every new monoclonal antibody that, you know, is out there, and everything that's happened is direct effect on my job. So we're slowing down finally, and finally getting to breathe a little bit. And so I'm like, okay, I need to work on me right now. So that's what I'm doing. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Treva, for sharing. So a couple of the things that we've learned. Number one, don't be afraid to fire a doctor. That's really important. Number two is that it's important to stay on your screening protocol, because that is how you catch cancers early, and that is how you get them when they are the most treatable. Something else that we haven't really talked about that I think is also really important to mention is the fact that if you know other people who have a family history of cancer, or if you have the opportunity to talk to other people who are non-mutants who have a family history of cancer, explain to them how important it is to consider having genetic testing so that they can get on the screening protocol if they do have a genetic syndrome like Li-Fraumeni syndrome, to be able to get on that screening protocol so that they can catch any cancers that come up early. That is a part of raising awareness of LFS and hereditary cancer syndromes as well, is starting to talk to other people outside of the group and letting them know that that is a possibility. That is a way that you can help to, you know, get people to stop having cancers quite so early and often. Oh, I see. And he was there and then he left. I just saw Phil and I saw Bella. All right, sorry, Lily. Come back on, guys. We would love to see you and say hi. Hopefully they will. Would anybody else like to share who they are, where they're from, and what Living LFS means to them, please? Leah, join us.
Hi, I'm Leah. It's really good to meet you all. Lori and Lynn, hi. I live in Seattle too. It's cool. I'd love to hear who your docs are. You know, yeah. I had my first cancer in 1998, adrenocortical carcinoma. I had an enormous tumor. Everybody thought I was going to die, you know. Had, you know, a long slog of trying and failing until we found mitotane, and had to do like a Hail Mary surgery, and I survived it, which was cool. Came back twice. In 2001 and 2005. I also had another time they thought it came back and I went through treatment, but it was a false alarm. You know, you go through everything, right? The surgeon tells you they won't do the surgery because it's too dangerous, whatever, like all kinds of things. So you're still, you know, here. And then I didn't know I had LFS because that was back then. They didn't really have good genetic testing for it. And I did get tested. Gosh, it must have been in the, like maybe around 2010 or so, they realized that adrenocortical carcinoma was a hallmark of LFS. Maybe it was before that. So honestly, my mother is a pediatric pathologist, and she at a medical conference learned that ACC was a hallmark of LFS. And she just kept that a little secret. And then eventually someone told me, and she was just like, started crying. And she's like, I'm so sorry, Leah, I didn't tell you. And like, she was so scared. And I got the test and it was negative. I didn't have LFS. I had no known mutation, which fucking meant that there was a mutation. They just didn't know it was pathogenic. So they didn't tell me I had LFS. So then I had to get another cancer, you know, because I wasn't getting, you know, and then I had another advanced cancer in 2019. And then that time we got another genetic test, and then they were able to admit, you know, we have to say this is a pathogenic mutation at this point, you know. So now I'm on all the screenings, and I found the Facebook group in like late 2020. And I have to say it was hard, you know, like because it just brings up all of the trauma of everything when you're just reading people's stories, you know, and people are coming on there and they're being like, oh my God, this is horrible. And you're like, oh my God, you know, just, but it's also been good to know that you're part of a larger phenomenon, even though it's a rare phenomenon. It feels like it's not rare when you're in the Facebook group. So that's nice. And yeah, resonating with everybody's stories about having to deal with doctors that are insensitive or not knowledgeable or whatever, you know, and just having to own it. I had the prophylactic mastectomy very recently, and I was so upset about it. I put it off for a year. You know, I was really upset with my chest after the surgery, and then I got the pathology back, and I was just like, oh my God, I couldn't have put it off for another month. You know, there was stuff there that wasn't cancer yet, but was going to be cancer. And the doctor was like, you would be here getting treatment a year from now, you know, if you hadn't had this surgery. So anyway, living LFS. That's my story.
Leah, thank you so much for sharing. And we're glad that you are finally a part of this group and that you finally got the diagnosis so that you could get on the screening protocol. Who else would like to share? Who are you, where you're from, and what living LFS means to you?
I can share.
Please do, Jessica.
Hi, I'm fairly new to this group. I got my LFS diagnosis around last August or September. So in 2009, I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma and had an amputation and lots of chemo. Then in 2015, had a tumor removed that was indifferential, with an indifferential diagnosis, that was loads of fun. So that got me super paranoid about any lumps and bumps that come on my body. So last year, I felt a lump on my breast, and I was very headstrong and forceful on, I need to get this tested. And it turned out to be DCIS. So I was very lucky. I got my double mastectomy without having to go through any treatment. And because I just turned 33, because I'm so young, they said we need to do genetic testing, and I found out that I have LFS. I am the first in my family with it, so that makes it even a little more fun, I suppose, knowing that I decided to mutate myself. I'm not very good at reaching out for support. I definitely utilize my humor as a coping mechanism, like many that I see here. And just knowing that there are people out there that understand is very helpful for me, knowing that I can reach out if I ever do, which probably isn't very likely, but I am glad to be here. I really look forward to hearing more about this camp. And possibly being able to go there. I am from Detroit, Michigan, and that's my story.
Thank you very much for sharing. I am going to share a link in the chat to our family camp for this year. One moment, please. It is the Jennifer Mallory. We actually named it after her. It is the Jennifer Mallory Family Camp. And here is the link. Now it's in the chat with all of the information for registering for camp. People are actually on a waiting list right now because camp has been so popular that we are actually full. But as we get closer to August, I imagine that there will be some attrition. We will have some people that probably will drop off, and that will make room for additional people to join. So go ahead and go to that page and look and see more information about camp, what it is that we're going to be doing there, and so that you can add yourself to the registration list. And Jessica, thank you very much for joining and for sharing, even though it's so difficult. And don't be surprised if some of us reach out to you and poke you to check in on you and make sure that you're doing okay and see what kind of support you need. Because that's one of the things we like to do. Who else wants to share? Roberta, I see you. Will you share, please?
Well, can you hear me?
Yep.
I've been muted the whole time here. I just can't thank everyone enough for continuing my daughter's legacy. I know there are people on here that I don't know anymore. I've pulled away a little bit only because my heart has a hard time living with all of you. And, but I can say I'm Jen Mallory's mom. I am living currently in Westminster, Colorado. That's in the Denver area. And Jen and Phil and the kids mean the world to me. And Living LFS, I existed before it existed. And knowing how much my daughter needed support at the time that her brother was sick and her dad was sick, and her going through the education and the experiences that she did, I'm truly amazed by her, by this whole group of folks, and your experiences and your strength and your openness, and to find so many people that have benefited from an idea that my daughter and you other amazing people have had, and to have it continue. It just makes me so proud. So I continue to lurk in the background and hope, just know that hope is being shared every day by you. And I just appreciate you all immensely. So thank you in honor of my daughter. Thank you so much.
Roberta, thank you. Obviously, without you, none of this would be possible. And I'm just, for a moment here, I'm just going to share this because Lisa, who is one of our board members, she is in charge of our social media. She had to drop off, but she made this beautiful graphic for LFS Awareness Day. And every time I see it, it just makes me so happy to see Jen's picture and to see her smiling face. And that was a photo that was taken with a Monet painting that she absolutely loves. And that is our leader. That is the woman who has brought us all together. That is the person that has made all of this possible, that has made Living LFS possible, and all of the support and the family camps and the hardship grants. So just give a couple of moments of silence for Jennifer Mallory today on what would be her 46th birthday. Who else would like to share who they are, where they're from, and what Living LFS means to them? I think we may have gotten everybody. Let's see, is there anything else that we need to talk about, that we need to mention? Oh, please.
I'll go. I wasn't going to, but everybody else that probably didn't want to decided to as well. So I probably should. Hello, my name's Trey Shelley. I'm Trish's son. I was first diagnosed in 1994. with a rhabdomyosarcoma. Then we've had an osteo with a recurrence, and then a leiomyosarcoma with a recurrence as well. Currently going through treatment with stage 4 leiomyosarcoma because it decided to be real angry. Even though I caught it pretty early, it bloomed up pretty quickly and was all of a sudden decided to go crazy. But one of the things I do like to always say is, you know, this has been cancer's real shitty, but the people you meet from it normally aren't. So that's definitely been super helpful. I also prefer to lurk. I do normally don't reach out too much, but you know, in person or stuff like this always reminds me that you have a pretty awesome community of some pretty awesome people. Definitely get it, and it's amazing. Like when you do actually meet them and talk about it, how you do just instantly connect with somebody else that has been through it and really does get what you're going through. It's a little different. I always feel like I have to withhold a little bit from my buddies just because it's a lot, you know. I have some that I share with more than others, but you don't want to scare them off. I live in Kennewick, Washington as well. I forgot that part, but my mom told you guys earlier. So yeah, so that's kind of my story right now. Plugging along. I hit the big 3-0 later this year, so officially
Right
about to
before
go.
camp.
Yeah, like what? Camp was the 11th, so 2 days before camp. Yep, Kennewick. Yep. Yeah.
And he, somebody who's very humble. So before his leg decided to, you know, make a reappearance, like what do we call it, Terry, the tibial tumor.
Yeah,
anyway,
Terry the terrible
tibial tumor. Terry the terrible tibial tumor.
That's not Mr. at all.
Yeah. But he almost all the screen printing for Snarky. I mean, like, Snarky wouldn't be where it's at without Trey, and he's very much behind the scenes. I feel I was gonna chime in and say, Lori, I like that too. They do a lot behind the scenes for our community, and so just because you're quiet doesn't mean that you guys aren't. Well, we couldn't be more opposite, as I'm complete extrovert.
Yeah, we just took some personality tests on was it last night?
Night before.
Night before last, and she was 77% extrovert and I was 80% introvert.
So yeah. So anyway,
I'm fine once I get into like a little small group, but it normally takes me a little while to break out of my shell.
I think this is the most words I've ever heard you say, Trey.
That's probably not true. That's probably true.
He's really chatty in person.
I didn't want to cry, but I thought it was funny because mine is rhabdomyosarcoma as well. And it was in a teratoma, and we had named mine Tim the Teratoma. So I thought it was you named yours. We named my cancer. So
we've got to do whatever you can to help cope.
I'm going to post a link to Snarky Cancer's Living LFS collection. That's in the chat now. That is, if you go to that page, everything that's on that page is specifically for Living LFS, but the entire page is Snarky Cancer. That is Trish and Trey's company that they built from the ground up. How many years ago now has it been, Trish?
So we started, we registered in October of 2017 and started screen printing in our garage in November of 2017. And Mike, who's my husband, who, you know, he's taking a nap. You know, he's been hugely instrumental in our business, and he has to take care of 2 mutants. So and what happens to us happens to him. But yeah, so 2017, now we have moved quickly out of that, and we do a ton of fundraisers for cancer families. So far we've raised over, I mean, just our little biz has raised over $150,000 for cancer families and cancer nonprofits. Almost everything on our site, there's a few that are like specific for like metafiber or sarcoma, or we host a few collections for some other nonprofits, but almost all of our retail stuff, 10% of the gross, not the net, goes to Living LFS. And we haven't had quite the explosive growth that I anticipated in this first quarter because we've had
one or two medical things to
cancering,
deal with.
yes. But
And COVID.
and COVID and all those things. But living, you know, Jen's Love T-shirts was part of the reason that we did this. And Gabby, Deanna Reed, who was also a founding member. I mean, like, we talked about it all the time that we needed to make a T-shirt line of hilarious and inappropriate cancer humor. And not everybody gets that, but a lot of us use humor to cope. I mean, and that was, you know, like I said, levity being one of our core values in our group. And yeah, so Snarky and Living LFS are very much intertwined together. And we're just thankful. We're thankful for all of the support that you guys give us on so many different levels. But this group means the world to us. It really does. And incidentally, when we were talking about, like, hey, by the way, you have a, you know, variant of unknown significance. So we were some of the first tested for the P53 mutation for Li-Fraumeni. So I was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was 21 and pregnant with Trey. It's been a long time because I'll be 52. But and when Trey was diagnosed with rhabdo when he was 2, you know, back then they called it SBLA, and we had an amazing nurse specialist, and we traveled, at that time we lived in Montana, traveled to Seattle for Trey's treatment because sarcoma, you need to go to a sarcoma specialist. And we had an amazing nurse practitioner that let me have access to the medical library. And I said, hey, I think we have this SBLA syndrome. And so we were tested, and they kept saying it was muddy and blah, blah, blah. So that was in 1995 that we were tested. And in 2008, when my mom had a low grade, who was the oncologist? we go to OHSU now. So he had a couple of different oncologists in Seattle because it was a teaching hospital. James Conrad, I think, was his surgeon. So anyway, but my mom was diagnosed with low-grade breast cancer, and her breast surgeon said, oh, you need to be genetic tested. And I'm like, oh, I was. And I like, this is me and my freaky brain, is I'm like, here, if you're calling Children's, here, Darcy Sternin was the genetic counselor, and here's Trey's medical number from 20 years ago or 15 years ago. But
so probably could rattle it off.
Yeah, 508. When we got the results faxed to us, it clearly said we had a P53 mutation and had Li-Fraumeni syndrome. And that was 1995, and we didn't find out until 2008. And that's when I found Mallory on MD Junction, and Susan was there, John Berkeley, Deanne Mooney. I mean, that's where that first started. But when we went, and I've taken Trey to MD Anderson in Houston a couple of times, and we talked to Louise Strong, and because I was kind of pissed off about that. I'm like, and now this is the other tip I want to give everybody. Well, and it's different now because we have electronic records. Always, if they do not give you something electronically, get a copy of it. Get a copy of it, because if I would have had that copy, right? And I had like copies of Trey's pathology and blood work and all kinds of stuff, but I didn't ask for that because they kept saying it was muddy and inconclusive. But what she said is because we were so new, the genetic testing of the full panel was so new, and ours is a very rare variant, that they didn't know what to do with it. So get copies of all the stuff, because it's super, super important. And I will never forget listening to Dr. Malkin speak, that he feels like if you have a mutation in a known cancer suppressor gene, that a variant of unknown significance is, you need to treat it like you have a pathogenic variant, because it just means that the scientists haven't figured out exactly what it does yet. But a mutation in any type of tumor suppressor gene should not be there. So that's my little other advice for people who are new.
One other thing I want to point out from Trish and Trey's story is, think about this. The two of them have been cancering for how long now? And they decided
30.
to start a business. And I know that that is something that a lot of us would be like, oh, I'm too afraid. We don't know what the future holds. Things are scary. I can't make the leap. I can't do something that requires the amount of faith that it takes to do something like that. Look at them. Look at the success that they've had in the midst of cancering, in the midst of dealing with LFS, in the midst of all of this. Look at what they have been able to accomplish. Don't ever assume that you can't do something that you're passionate about.
And I will say, I have spent a lot of years in fear, right? But it was this group, it was the original founding board members and us always talking about that. And when Deanna Reed passed away in June of 2017, and I had been talking about, we'd been talking about it, and I was in New Orleans, which is like my soul city, right? If my husband would let me, I'd move there in a minute. When she passed away, and I went to a psychic, right? Because you have to do that when you're in New Orleans. And she's like, oh, I see you and your husband starting a business, and it's very creative. And my sister and I have always talked about opening a business together. And I'm like, oh, she's crazy. It's got to be Mandy. It's got to be Mandy. And then when Gabby passed away, it was the next month that it was the kick in the ass. But life is too short, and it's going to pass anyway, right? It's going to pass anyway. So find the things that you love, find the things that help you get out of bed every day, because there are times that it is hard as hell to get out of bed when we live with the kind of shit that we live with. So find whatever that is, whether it's volunteer work, whether it is, your career, but there is always something. But that was my kick in the ass, that, it's got to happen. And so I can, that's what I'm saying. This would not have happened without this community. And I love you all.
We love you. Hey, I recognize a new face on there. How are you?
Hi. Can I share now?
Please do. First, you have to say who you are and where you're living.
Oh, right. So, hi, my name is Lily Mallory. In case you don't know me, I'm Jennifer Mallory's kid, her favorite kid. So, at 3 years old, I was diagnosed with adrenal cortical carcinoma and a sarcoma in my right leg. I don't have too many memories, but I do remember little things like all the bunnies I got to see and all the dogs. And my favorite story probably is that apparently I woke up at 3 a.m. calling for the nurses because I wanted to play Barbies and my dad was asleep. So one of the things I'm sure pretty much all the LFS families do is we also do our annual scannings. And over the past few years, I've sort of struggled. I've had a lot of scanxiety, as Trish's shirts say. So something I really love is getting texts from Trish and Mills and all of you awesome people. It's like, you got it, you got this, girl. This is nothing new. You're amazing. I'm like, you're amazing. I love you. And then something about Living LFS. I really loved the camp. It was awesome. It was my favorite thing in the world. I've been to a few cancer camps. And I was like, this is probably my favorite out of all of them. There was some great memories with Trish and Mills going across the top of Idaho. It's all the snow and just helping get things ready. That was one of my favorite things. And I really love Living LFS because, I see it almost as a symbol of Ohana as family. In case you haven't seen Lilo and Stitch, Ohana means family. Family means no one gets left behind or forgotten. And I really associate Living LFS with my mom because this was her passion and she loved so many of you and you guys just made her world. And I loved seeing all the relationships and friendships this really became like one big family where we all sort of know what's happening and can really support and help each other up from our little pits of cancer, which suck. In case you didn't get the memo, cancer sucks. So yeah, I want to thank you all. You guys are amazing. I love you all. So yeah.
Oh, you're awesome. Thank you. Phil, don't poke your head out there and then run away from us. Come and say hi, please.
No, thank you. Love you guys.
Well, we're glad that you both are here on the call. Thank you very much. All right, who else wants to share before we wrap it up? I think we're coming towards the end. All right, so I will mention once again that we started out at the beginning of March saying that we were going to award 12 $1,000 grants. Today, we are awarding 31 $1,000 grants, thanks to the donations from the Living LFS community. And I see all of you clapping, and it is well deserved. You all have helped to make this happen. And we thank you all so much for supporting LFS Awareness Day, LFS Awareness Month, spreading the word about Li-Fraumeni Syndrome. Get it out however you can. Tell anybody that doesn't know about what you are going through, what you're going through, because it's important. They need to know how important this syndrome is to cancer in general, and how they can support you and how they can support others with LFS. Does anybody else want to say anything before we wrap up? Trish?
All right, I'm sure you're sick of hearing my voice, but as a founding member, it has been incredible. I was cleaning out a file cabinet the other day, and I found a folder from our very first mutant meetup that was in October of 2014. And it was important. It was 2 days, and that was our first event as an organization. Huh?
I didn't realize that was the first.
That was the first. And so to see how much this organization has grown, to see the amazing impact that it is having on the community. Family camp was life-changing, and I know that these financial hardship grants can be just the thing that can get somebody over a terrible hump that happens. And we do this because we get it. We do this because we have been dealt a shitty hand, but that does not mean we have to have a shitty life. And so thank you for trusting us. Thank you for sharing with us. And to the people who always are donating and supporting behind the scenes, it means the world to us. We are an all volunteer organization. We take your money seriously. We do not have any salaries. We keep our expenses incredibly low because we know that anytime a cancer family donates to an organization, that they are taking very hard-earned money because cancer is expensive and entrusting us with it. And we do not take that lightly. So thank you again for all of your support. Thank you for sharing your stories today. It was so good to meet all you new people. We've been pretty quiet in the group because we've been cancering pretty hard the last few months, and emotionally, I just haven't been able to be there as much, but this has again put another fire under my butt to be more active in the group with what's going on. So thank you for celebrating Mallory and wearing your blue today and being here. We appreciate you all.
All right, I think we're going to wrap it up then for today. Happy Li-Fraumeni Syndrome Awareness Day, everybody who is on the call. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you all for taking the time for being able to be here with us. And, always reach out to Living LFS if you have questions, if you need more support, if there's anything that we can do, let us know. So I'm Andy Last. I'm the Vice President of Living LFS. That's Trish Shelley Stevens. She is one of the founding members, and she is our treasurer as of right now. Earlier we had Greg Harper. He is the president of Living LFS. Lisa Wickens was also on. She is the social media coordinator for Living LFS. And as Trish mentioned, we are all volunteer, and we welcome any of you that have the time and the capacity and would like to volunteer. We will put you to work. So again, reach out to Living LFS if you need anything from us, and happy LFS Awareness Day. Thank you all.
Thank you.